Hi, this is Christal with Reality Check, and I'm excited about today's guests. They are here to talk about their reality show, Returning to Own. Please welcome Pastor and Aventer Gray. Welcome.
Greetings.
Thank
How
you.
are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys for coming out today.
Thank you for having us.
Honored to be here.
Of course. Now, before we get started, at Reality Check, we have gifts. So we wanted to make sure to give something for the ladies. I usually have a little bit more for the ladies. So we have an entire beauty bag for you from Kimoni Beauty.
Thank you.
So this is like, we know you're doing press, lashes, a little extra lip, little tumbler, just, to make the lady feel beautiful as she does her press, right? Of course. And we don't want to leave you out, Pastor Gray. We don't want to leave you out.
I want something.
We don't have as much for you. We don't have as much for you. Mother's Day we have a lot, Father's Day we have a little, but it's good. It's good.
But you got a gift card to Golden Corral.
No. I have a kit from Shave Wise, which is a brand that is specifically for African American men. You have a beard, but you have a bald head. So this is basically created for us, our skin, our texture of skin, and it's absolutely amazing. It's a great kit. That's an early Father's Day gift to Pastor Gray.
I need this.
Yes, you do.
I just recently discovered that I'm Black, so this is going to help me with discovering who I am.
Absolutely. But again, thank you guys so much for stopping by here in Atlanta through our Reality Check. And you guys are the very first people to sit in our new set. What do you think?
Love it.
It's great. Except you got Morris Chestnut looking at my wife, and other than that, it's
Well,
great.
I don't think he's looking off to the side. He's looking off to the side.
He knows I'm over here. Like, don't even look over here, Morris. But anyway, no, this is beautiful.
Thank
you for having us.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we know you guys are here doing press. The Book of John Gray is back on OWN. I've seen some of the commercials. I see that you have, of course, LaToya Luckett is back, right?
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I watched last season, of course, along with most of the world, and we saw that you actually prophesied to her about her husband before it happened, and then we see her, the fruit of that, her beautiful husband and now beautiful baby. What does this season look like? Do we get a chance to see more of their relationship with the two of you guys? Because outside of just attending your church, you guys are also really good friends, correct?
Yeah. Well, I think, first of all, April 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8
Absolutely.
p.m. Central on the Oprah Winfrey Network, the Book of John Gray is back. And you can expect to see the same thread of hope, me and Aventer fighting for and walking with people through varying challenges, trials, and triumphs. LaToya Luckett is a part of the season. I don't want to give too much away, so babe, you go ahead and share kind of what.
Give us a little bit.
A little bit. They gave me some shave cream, so don't get them all of it.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, you get to see my sister Boo come check on me in Houston, Texas. I've gotten some new news that I want to unpack with her. She's sharing about what life is like as a newlywed, how they are getting along, and we just have a very real and transparent conversation. And I needed a little bit of a reset with my friend. So I'm so grateful that she was able to come down and share, and you just have to watch. It's going to be really good.
Absolutely. Do you enjoy that part? Because pastoring is a big job, but we got a chance to actually see both of you guys with some really personal situations in the show, like actually talking to a mother about her son, and you see some real intimate moments there. So is that a big part of what you both enjoy? Pastoring outside of the big sermons where you're feeding, a lot of flock, you get a chance to do a lot of in-depth, intimate sessions on television.
I think so. I think there's not a lot of positive and faith and family affirming content in the reality space because, drama sells a little bit more and people are not really interested in things that don't have that element.
Okay.
But I think there's enough drama in actual life when you're dealing with a mother who lost a child to gun violence, when you're dealing with someone who lost their legs in a car accident and they're trying to find hope again, when you're dealing with a child who's dealing with real racism and being called out of their name, and we act like that was the 50s and 60s. No, it's the 2018s and 19s. And so I think it's great because I heard my wife say something recently about basically taking Jesus out of the walls of the or the four walls of the church, this idea that we're only relevant on Sundays, that has to go away. If we're going to be relevant to culture, then we have to be applicable, and we have to be available to people where they are.
Right.
Most folk aren't coming to church on Sunday.
Right.
So we need to be the hands and feet of Jesus in the community without being religious.
Right.
And without being,
Judgmental.
judgmental. So.
Judgmental, absolutely. I admit, I started watching online. I watch you online a lot. I don't always make it to church on Sunday. I try. I watch in bed online. But that actually brings me to a good point, because I think there has always been for Christians this struggle of balance. Like, how do I be in the world and be relevant and be in a job, especially someone like myself in entertainment, and still be able to be true to what my beliefs are. So a lot of people would probably, I'm sure, thought reality TV, is this a place for church? So how did you guys make that decision to do that, and where do you find that balance?
I think when the idea initially came up, and it's been a couple of years now, so I'm trying to remember, we had a couple of friends just to kind of sit with us and say, hey, what do you think about reality TV? And I think it was a resounding no. And then he was just like, people need to know your family. You guys represent something. You guys love people, and you love to interact with people. You love to get to know people, and you're very real people. And I think for us, being relatable, transparent, and authentic is very important.
Right.
We always want to make sure we're staying true to ourselves while we're still staying true to our beliefs in our faith, which everyone needs faith in their lives. And I feel that the way we connect with people has been in such a way that we tear down the whole narrative that pastoral leadership or leaders are perfect people. And so being able to walk with other people, share and exchange experiences from our lens, not from perfection, but from a place of growth, I think is what made us say, OWN is a safe place. It looks like we're going to be able to actually live out our faith out loud on camera. We're going to be able to say Jesus. We're going to be able to sit with people and share about our faith from a practical standpoint, as well as a relational standpoint, as well as a spiritual standpoint. And that's how we landed with saying yes to the assignment that we feel like we've been called to.
Now I want to ask you, Pastor Gray, because I think a lot of people kind of struggle with this, because we are, even though you're a Christian, everyone has different likes and dislikes. And I remember hearing, I believe it was T.D. Jakes give a sermon on, if someone, has an affection for designer clothes, just because they're a Christian doesn't mean they won't like designer clothes anymore. How do you know when the balance is off, as far as when am I worshiping maybe things that are more materialistic and things of the world, as opposed to when is my focus still on God?
I really like the question, because you're talking about two things. You're talking about the spirituality of salvation and the reality of my personality. And so you can love nice things. I like for my wife to look nice. When she and I go shopping, I want her to be able to wear things that accentuate her curves. I want her bling, and I want her fine for me. I want her looking good.
I like
Those
that.
are things that I like to do. She loves to smell good. She got 45 different perfumes. That's a part of her personality.
Right.
She doesn't worship it. She's a shoe fanatic.
I see. We see what you
what
got
I'm
on
saying?
right now,
y'all.
sister. I see you.
And then I like to buy her different purses, because that's something I like to see her carry. That's a part of her personality. I think where some of us in faith and in church get it twisted is we begin to worship the things or idolize the things. And there are some people who go too far to the right and say, hey, now that you're saved, you can't wear that, and you can't do that, and you can't like that. Well, here's the reality. God saves your soul. He sanctifies your personality.
Amazing.
There's a difference. So the salvation of my soul is an eternal gift through faith. The sanctification process means the Holy Spirit comes in and begins to help me to see things through a different lens. So maybe where I would wear a certain outfit before I was saved, I realized that a little more modesty may be put in place. But it doesn't mean that I become this bland, bland, vanilla individual. You can still have swagger, but here's the beauty. When you have the Holy Spirit on the inside, it becomes not just this conservative idea of personality, but your personality is unlocked. So now I can be even more creative. Maybe a woman used to have to show a lot of flesh to get attention. Now she can cover up, but now the inner beauty is so magnetic. More people are drawn because of the way she carries herself, and the same for a man. So, you know, as long as you're not worshiping it. My test is, if I feel like I have to have it, I'm gonna get rid of it. So for me, anytime I've hoarded money, like there are times when I've been afraid that I won't be able to take care of my family, and I have like money in my pocket. God says, sow it. Every time I have cash, I'm sowing it, because there's something in me that's afraid that I won't have more. So anytime I'm looking like I'm about to worship it, God makes me give it away. So he makes me give it away, because I will never put anything above God. There's a difference between a resource, money, and the source, God.
Wow.
Wow, that was very good.
Thank you, baby. I feel the Holy Ghost. Even with the pink rug.
Well, you know, the pink rug, it brings the spirit. It brings the spirit, yeah. Aventer, I want to ask you, because he touched on something I know women deal with a lot, especially women in the church. There's a certain look that people expect women in the church to have. And I actually remember Erica Campbell had on a dress, and she's just a very shapely, beautiful woman. And people went crazy. Oh my God, she's wearing this on the cover. It wasn't inappropriate, it just showed her shape. To hear your husband say that he enjoys, you know, you wearing things that allow you to show your figure, but it's not inappropriate. And then there's a clip where you say, I don't know if I fit the look that people are expecting from a first lady. What do you think about the fact that, you know, the world has these stereotypes, but we know that the church also has a lot of stereotypes? And I would just say, in my experience, the church can be more judgmental sometimes than the world. What would you speak to that, especially in relation to women and the image that we look at, because we're so hard on each other. And if a woman is wearing something that's too provocative or showing too much figure, they bring in drop cloths to cover up her knees in church.
Modesty clothes.
What is your take on that?
Wow, well, first let me speak to Erica. What is important for people to understand is that she was covered from the very top of her neck. It was a turtleneck, in fact. Long sleeves, her arms were covered. It was well beyond her knees. It just happened to accentuate the God-given curves.
God-given.
Let's just put a pin right there. The God-given natural curves, amen?
Amen.
That she has. I thought she was absolutely stunning. Jay Bolin styled her, and they were both attacked based on her look. And I couldn't understand what the big deal was. I feel like the beauty of humanity is that God has made so many of us big, small, curvy, shapely, pleasantly plump, super small, thin, petite. And I feel like all of those body types are necessary. If we all look the same, the world would be boring. I'd say for me, entering into this position, I was a little apprehensive and also anxious, because I feel like I'm pretty shapely, but I love to look cute. You are. Thank you. Amen. I love to look cute. I love to wear certain clothes, but I am also careful. I also have body markings. I started at a very young age getting them.
What's a body
Do you mean tattoos?
I have tattoos. No. How dare a first lady have tattoos? But when I'm
leaving this show.
When I thought about it, I was thinking about the 16-year-old girl who might have a tattoo and feel like she can't speak to her first lady because she's been shamed by a decision that she made for whatever, you know, influence she got it from. I will say that I may not do it again, but
why?
Well, I think I've met my max as tattoos are concerned. But nothing that you wear or nothing that you choose to place on your body defines you. The Lord has already defined you. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I think, again, like back with the clothing, as well as tattoos or piercings or whatever it is that you wish to express yourself, if you are connecting with your God, there is somebody that is going to be drawn to you and you're going to speak to, and that somebody is going to actually find a real spiritual sense of belonging because of what you chose to do with yourself. And for me, I had to find peace with, me starting to get tattoos at 16 years old.
Right.
I didn't foresee that I would be a first lady, but I have them now and I carry them with me. It took me a while to get it, that this is how God made me, and I had to be comfortable in my own skin.
Right. At the time that you guys decided that he asked you to marry him, he was already a pastor? He was already a pastor. Okay, so
He
you
was
knew
a minister.
being with
he
him.
wasn't pastoring when we...
I had been a youth pastor, but at the time that we got married, I was a traveling evangelist.
Yes.
Okay.
So itinerant evangelism is different than senior leadership.
Yeah.
Did you have any hesitations initially about, oh man, I'm going to be a first lady at a church. People are going to be judging me on what I wear. If my hat right, are my gloves together?
My hat, okay?
Oh, Lord.
Again, I've had a little bit of insecurity. Am I enough? Is this okay? How will I connect to maybe some of this more seasoned women or men of the church? I love to change my hair. I love to actually change hair, like take off hair and put hair back on.
Right.
And get braids and things of that nature, because I think it's expressive.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful. And I think the Lord put all of this here for us to utilize. And so I just really had to be comfortable and confident in me, and that whatever the work that the Lord has called me to, that it is enough. And if my husband was fine with it, then I was fine with it. And so he didn't seem like he was ashamed of me, so I felt fine walking into my position. He knew I had tattoos. He knew that I like to change my hair a lot. And I like, shoes and clothes, but none of those things define me.
I will speak to that. I like to lavish my wife with gifts and nice things, but she's never demanded it. Give me this, or I'll do this, or I won't do that. Those are just functions of my personality. That's one of my love languages, the giving of gifts.
That's a beautiful love language for a husband to have. I just want to say that into the camera.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I think the other thing is, I didn't ask her, nor did we know that I would be a senior pastor. In fact, when we had those conversations, I told her, I don't want to be a pastor. I never wanted to be a senior pastor, because I understood that church folk will get on your nerves, and I don't want to be bothered.
my gosh.
Not near one of them.
Right.
God, you made them. You deal with them. The beauty is, she wasn't marrying me to be a first lady. She was marrying John to be John's wife.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the fact that she's added the hat of first lady, that doesn't define who she is. What she does is not who she is. Who she is Aventer from Dothan, Alabama. Well, who she is a person whose heart is as big as the sea, who loves her family, fiercely protective, super, loyal to her friends. These are the things about her that drew me to her. And so, I don't care what people think about her tattoos. I like them. I like all of them.
Okay.
I've seen them all.
Pastor said he likes all of it.
Oh, well, amen.
Especially that one. Never mind.
Okay, all
right. So
I have to ask you, did you all, were you taken aback when the public had a big issue with you spoiling your wife with a truck? And I mean, it just became a trending topic. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it did.
Honestly, it did surprise us, because we know us and we know how we connected. We love music, we love people, we love God, and we love cars. Like, we love cars. It's like, where's that thing where it's too much?
Right.
I mean, my husband works hard. I work hard. We have multiple streams of income, things that we have, worked hard for over the years. When we got married, we had negative $11.
Come on.
So when the Lord showed up for us, gave us these ideas that opened up, my husband is an author, and, we have all of these different wonderful things that the Lord has blessed us with. We saw this particular thing drove people bananas. And if you know us, then you know we've given cars away to people. And we've also had a lot of cars. But those don't define us either.
Right.
Because again, if anything becomes like an idol, we'll give it away.
I want to ask Pastor Gray, because I think a lot of people, some people just have no idea. And they think that there's a scripture in the Bible that says, it's easier for a camel to get through a needle of an eye than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. We've all, and I think that verse people have taken out of context
So many times.
and assumed that there's there's not a place for wealth in Christianity. But then I also believe that a lot of pastors and men of God have used their power irresponsibly.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that is a truth.
So do you find a responsibility to explain or share based on the fact that a lot of people in your position have been inappropriate and have been irresponsible?
Yeah, at first I was defiant. I was angry because I know my heart. My heart is pure. I didn't buy that car as a pastor. I bought it as a husband. I ordered it in February of 2018. And so I wasn't a senior pastor then.
Oh, wow.
And people don't know that. The car showed up almost a year later because that's how long they take to build. And so I saved my money and I did something that I thought I wanted to do for our 8th anniversary. She didn't have a clue because when we went on Faith and was looking at that car, I'm like, girl, we ain't gonna never do this. Let's just build one for fun.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do that because the truth is, nothing is promised. I don't know if I got another year with her. I could drop dead tomorrow. And if I do, I'm not leaving anything on the table. If she has to remarry, I want it to be hard because I wanted to be like, he took care of me, he loved me, he honored me, he grew. Because I have to mature too. And we can talk about all of that. But for this vehicle, church, some people in the church took issue because they thought the church bought that. No, a husband bought that for his wife before he was a senior pastor.
Does it matter if he was a senior pastor? Or?
Well, I think for people, they equate that with extravagance. Why did you get her a Mercedes? Now, why are you trying to spend my money? I don't spend yours. If you work legally and earn your income and you have the ability to do certain things for the people you love, you should be able to do that.
Right.
So I think for us, it was important that people understand the narrative, that what I did was for my bride.
Right.
And I understand why the church feels what they feel. But that wasn't a church purchase. That was a husband
that was
blessing his wife.
Spoiling his wife, as they should.
I think the other part is that we didn't post it.
Right.
It was for the people, the select people and close family and friends that we had at our vow renewal.
Right.
Where he gave it to me, but somebody shared a video and that's what went viral.
But it's almost like if you're doing that and it's at your own family and friends event, and it does get shared, should you feel like you can't? You shouldn't feel like you have to hide. Right?
I don't think we even thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That there is a new church and there is debt attached to it, that we inherited it. And, it would be like, why do this if the church is in need of that? But we give and give and give, and we sow into our church as well and into the community, and we have for years.
I think people don't separate the pastor and the church. And they feel like if the church needs something, then the pastor's money should go towards that.
And it does.
Yeah,
all the time.
Not only does it, we're very generous in our giving. We're tithers, we give offering.
And I must add real quickly, when we first moved to take on this church, all of the people that needed to be employed that moved to fill up the holes and the gaps for the employees that left with the other pastor, we made sure they had homes and somewhere to live before we did. We were homeless in Greenville. We lived in hotels. We lived in hotels and Airbnbs every week, packing up our 2 small children, moving from hotel to hotel and into an Airbnb. And if they had at least to someone else, we had to move and go to a hotel, and then we could come back, and then we moved for 6 months until everybody else had a home.
That was taken care of. That leadership.
Nobody knows that. Nobody. I mean.
Those are not the headlines that.
Those aren't the headlines that make it.
Narrative.
Right.
They want to make you out to be money hungry, and it couldn't be further from the truth. We were fine in Houston, and we were doing well in Houston. We didn't need the interruption or the debt.
Jesus.
We went because of a calling, and I uprooted my family on faith, and it's been painful, but we believe that it's God. And so where people try to draw this narrative, it is hurtful because it's not the case. And so thank you for giving us an opportunity to kind of share about that experience. Have other individuals taken advantage of their position in church
know it too well.
and manipulated people? Absolutely. I've been there. I understand. I've seen it. But that's not us.
But that's not this.
And so when people say you got a car, but you're talking about money for a roof, well, what they don't know is everything that comes in goes to meet the needs of our employees. 200 employees. we're believing God every week to meet those needs so the families can be covered.
Right.
And so...
And the church needed a roof when we got there.
Yeah,
it needed
so
a roof with the last pastor. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just like, you can't win.
Right, it's only so much you can explain, but I think when people know your heart, I think that eventually comes through. A lot of things that you've said have become trendy, especially in regards to relationships. You talked about, actually, Pastor Gray, you've always been very respectful and shown your wife so much love and admiration and honor, in saying that she had to kind of wait for me to mature. And that caused a lot of people to respond as far as saying that in marriages, a woman shouldn't have to build a man. A woman shouldn't have to do that. And a part of me feels I could understand why some people took it that way. Yeah. What is your response to that? Because we heard what he said actually was meant to show you honor.
It was. It really was. But I have to remember, and we all have to keep in mind, that everybody doesn't believe the same. And the way they look at families and the family construct and how they see marriage and faith vary. And so when my husband was speaking from a spiritual standpoint, it did not resonate with everybody.
Right.
So we get that part. But for us as Christians and as believers, I don't feel like I had to carry his brokenness alone. He has to carry mine as well. And when two imperfect people come together, we're sharing brokenness. There are some things that will come up inside of a marriage that you never have to face when you're living with just you. And some of those things come to bear only when you're joined to another human. So I feel like when my husband was trying to give me honor, I agreed with what he said. And when he said the pain of it all, there is some pain that I experienced that I didn't ask for. And there's some pain that he's experienced where I'm concerned that he didn't ask for. But do we run away at the first sign of the worse and the better or worse? Or do we work together and share about it and share how we overcame it?
Absolutely. Did you feel when you heard him, because I don't know if you were there when he made the statement, did you feel in your marriage at one time that you were carrying a lot? Because I think marriage works that way from time to time. One person may carry a lot and the other person may not. But do you know exactly what he was talking about? Did you feel like that there was a time when you had to do a lot of the burden carrying because he was hurt? And I guess, was that early on in your marriage?
I feel like, no, I wasn't there, first of all. I wasn't there. I saw the clip. And then we reshared it. I think it was Niecy Nash that posted it and was saying something she said that was kind, because she thought it was great. There were a lot of people that were like, I don't understand what just happened. Why is everybody taking this wrong? And I won't say taking it wrong, just having a different perspective. And so for me, I feel like there have been times in the marriage, and I'm going to speak about me, so my husband can speak about himself. I thought I knew how to be a wife by watching my mother and my father, who've been married for 50 years. Now, I could try to emulate my mother, but my mother is my father's wife. So the wife that I need to be for my husband may not match the wife that she is to my father, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I needed to learn how to be his wife. So I wasn't a good his wife. I was just an okay wife learning. I had to grow and stretch in that regard. I was established. I had degrees. I was working when I met him. I had my own townhouse that I had paid for by myself. There were things that I had to learn about respect and submitting and listening to his voice that I didn't do well. So he had to bear the burden of, how do I get her to trust me and trust my voice and trust my leadership? And I didn't do well with that. So on his side, he had oh, really?
No, I'm just
Are you
blessed.
agreeing?
I'm blessed because we've talked about it, but I think this is the first time she's expressing it in this manner to the public. So I'm tripping and I'm grateful. I love you. I don't know what to do. I want to kiss you, but we're on TV.
Oh my
you look
God.
good with your red lipstick. Keep going, baby. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm just saying, I think at the beginning, and then I became pregnant fairly sooner than we had hoped.
Yes, she did.
And so I went from being a wife trying to emulate my mother to being a mother, and then automatically shifting to the child that I thought needed me the most. And so some of his needs went unmet. So I can't hold myself blameless in the sharing of the pain. I think all of it is a part of the growth of what becoming is for a marriage.
And then 2 months after our son was born,
I was pregnant again.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
11
she had
months,
2 kids
a point.
within
Yeah.
11 and a half months.
I think a lot of people don't understand is wife and mother sounds good together, but sometimes it's hard to
It's very overwhelming.
juggle both. And so you end up, especially with new babies, focusing on the mothering part. And it's like,
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait over
you're
here
good,
because
right.
this baby needs me, but he also needs you.
right.
And
Right, and
you're
I'm like,
trying.
I know he need milk, but I need to be over there too. Anyway, go ahead.
I just think that it's a great conversation because
Yeah.
that's where the heartache and the pain comes in, and that's all a part of the becoming. You don't become at the altar on the day you get married. You become for the length of the marriage.
Right.
Yeah, the two
So-
become one flesh. It ain't overnight.
Not. And
It's a lifetime.
I think a lot of singles, especially in I can speak to our community better than another community. We expect people to come ready. Men want you to come submissive. Come to the situation submissive. I have been doing all this on my own.
Wow.
I just am supposed to look at you and submit. I don't know you. I don't trust you. I don't know that. And in the same token, I think women expect men to come ready to be a provider and a leader and know how to do all these things. And we don't allow each other the grace to get there.
I think we
Right?
were very good at what we knew to do, but not so good at the things we didn't know. And that's what caused the pain. So when my husband in that clip was trying to honor me and saying that I endured pain like childbirth, he wasn't saying that it was intentional. He wasn't saying that he came into the marriage like, hey, let me see how I can hurt my wife today. I mean, nobody does that.
Right.
But the things that are unveiled throughout the marriage are things that if you're strong, 'cause people were calling me weak. I am not this rug. I'm strong because I was able to allow the grace for him to grow and continue to grow into the man that God has called him to be. And likewise,
Right.
the same for me. I thank God that he has the grace for me to learn how to be his wife, not a wife, but the wife that he needs for him.
Right.
So it works both ways.
And the truth is, what are we building? We're building a life together. We're building a legacy together. We're building a story together. And so great stories have ups and downs, ebbs and flows. There's a denouement, there's a climax, there's a challenge, then there's this beautiful conclusion. And so I was honoring my wife. I feel like there are gifts that she carries. There are things that she does well. And I believe a great woman has the ability to expand and to carry because you guys carry life. You can go from this to this,
Right.
birth a baby, go back to this, have another one. So it wasn't
That's
just
what
her,
we could do, girl.
and it wasn't just her birthing my natural children. When I was talking about she birthed things, I'm talking about my hopes and my dreams. This woman has worked harder for our ministry, my ministry, and has put her own dreams on the back burner. I didn't express that in that clip, but that was what I was thinking in my mind.
Right.
Because this woman is brilliant. She's amazing, creative, singer, actress. She's an author. She put all of those things to the side to push that
support.
out of me. That book doesn't get done if she's not covering the kids.
Right.
That book doesn't get done if she's not, being an executive,
Right.
at the church or in ministry. And so those are things that are important for people to hear and for people
Right.
to know. What they see is me, but what they don't see is there is not me
Without
if she's
her.
not doing what she's doing.
Right.
It is a true team effort.
Absolutely.
And it took me a while to understand her value because I was very self-centered without knowing it. It wasn't intentional.
Self-centered.
I did not realize that I was so focused on what I thought
you.
the calling was
Right.
that I didn't see that there's another human being with real emotions and real dreams.
That's supporting you.
And I need to also do that for her.
Now, I have to ask you, because again, you guys have had so many situations that have gone viral and caused conversation, but good because it causes people to talk about the reality of what we deal with in life. The last situation is, I guess what people would kind of call an emotional affair with another woman. To you, because as a woman, I know it doesn't matter if it's emotional, if it's physical, or what it is.
hurts.
It is hurtful because a lot of times we feel like we're not enough. But it also feels like, because I think I saw a video where you were talking, and I know as a woman, that's a woman that's hurt and she's speaking in pain. But I feel like, or I'd like to ask you, women that are in those situations, because I do know that women target men of God, women target men in the spotlight.
Power.
women target men of power, and probably men probably target women as well. Do you see that as a sign of a broken person trying to pull something from someone that they could get help from? Or are you able to see that through the pain? Or do you think that a lot of times it's strategically intentional to hurt you? Do you feel like it was a situation that was done to specifically hurt you? Or do you think it was a broken person attempting?
I think the hurt and the pain is a byproduct of what actually was going on inside of my husband, which was insecurity and things that came before I even showed up. There were things inside of him that had not been reconciled with him as a man before I got here. If he was married to you, it was gonna happen. If he was married to one of my best friends, it was going to happen.
That's powerful for you to know as a woman, because that means that you don't take any of that on to yourself.
I had to grow to that, though. I'm not saying I got it initially. I'm saying I was hurt and was like, what in the world is happening? What did I do? And I can't believe, and I don't deserve. And I went all of that stuff. And then when I went to God, is when I realized that it was never about me. He had something going on with him.
Yeah.
She spoke to an insecurity or something that had nothing to do with me.
Probably from her being a broken person. Because I think we sometimes forget that the
she
other
has
person
to be
is broken
because,
too.
Because the lifestyle, and somebody took what I said wrong on the reel. I said, well, she knew he was married. That wasn't to excuse him.
Right.
My question to him was, does she know that you're married? And he said yes, which means y'all both knew you were wrong.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Not like she was being led into a belief that he wasn't married.
Right.
She was well aware of me, and it is not about her at all.
Right, but
I
there's
don't want to talk
accountability
about her
on-
brokenness and all of that. That would be between her and God. But for me and for him, I just want to make sure and put it on record saying that I had to grow to understanding through prayer, much prayer, counseling, wisdom of spiritual covering, alike.
And a couple of spirited, elevated vocal exchanges.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, he got God. If you can,
That's a nice way of putting it.
can rewind to the very first Relentless Grace message of the church, we are the ones that shared it with the church. We shared it, not somebody going to the tabloids.
Right.
We told it first in an effort to be transparent with our church about relationships and getting ready to talk about just what type of pastors we were going to be, ones that lead from their scars and from their mistakes. I wanted to be said that when he said, she set it off like a good woman should, people took that crazy, like I hit and I did all of this kind of stuff. No, I set it off because I was hurt, because at that point, the initial point, I did think it was about me.
Yeah,
but I had to grow to learn that it had nothing to do with me and it was going to happen to anybody he was married to.
That's a word.
That's the epiphany.
That's a word, seriously.
That this predates her, and there were things that needed to be addressed. Most specifically, a lack of understanding of my calling, my identity, and my authority, but also the unattended boy that was broken and that dealt with abuse at 4 years old that never understood how to heal. And so there are a lot of areas. None of it had anything to do with Aventer, but it affected her.
But I think that's so powerful because so many marriages go through. I mean, this is something that happens every day. And I think that what people don't see is that this conversation, it isn't anything to do with her, because women automatically take that. I don't know if men always understand that. It becomes something we absorb and feel responsible for. And then they're dealing with, it's hard to deal with it together. So to be able to say, I got to the point where I understood that, and then him to be able to take accountability is powerful.
Right.
I believe, to be able to share that.
And I want to say I wouldn't stay in a place of perpetual brokenness, because it's like, where's the end? Now you see, God had to shine a light on it, and because he loves you, he's correcting you, and he's also correcting me, and learning that it wasn't about me, the selfish aspect that I was coming from as well. So we've never had this much time to even talk about it. So
I appreciate you all so much. I think that your example is it causes a lot of conversation, but through conversation, people are growing. And you may not hear the people that are growing because people don't talk about the good stuff as much as they do the provocative stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So we appreciate it.
I don't know why the bad rings louder, but it's always out there. But there are people who have been changed for good, because I get a lot of messages from women that say thank you
Yeah.
for standing and for being an example. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you guys so much for stopping by and for being, this was a serious reality check. I appreciate you guys' candor and your ability to be honest and to share your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so
And
much.
please, everybody, watch The Book of John Gray, Saturdays on the Oprah Winfrey Network, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, beginning April 6th. And for the next 8 weeks, I want you to be a part of our family.
Yeah.
Invite us into your home. Press the red DVR button and then tell us what you think. And stay connected to my bride on Instagram and Twitter at GrayCeeme, GrayCeeme. And I am at Real John Gray, RealJohn Gray. And we love y'all.
And of course, this is Christal Jordan. This has been the first reality check in our new set. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here at Rolling Out, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you. Yay.